Yeah, 10-9-8-76ers, the Sixers Talk podcast brought to you by Wilmington University. So glad you could join us. Danny Pomels, Noah Levick, Amy Fadul, and guys, it is game day. First half of a back-to-back for the 76ers, the Raptors today, the Bucks tomorrow, minus Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's dealing with, I think it's a calf injury. And if you haven't heard, Steve Kerr came out really ripping the NBA and the current system with the amount of soft tissue injuries guys are suffering from because of the expediency that they're playing with, the amount of ground you have to cover, the pace of the NBA. So that's something that you might want to listen to as a basketball fan that's floating around, but definitely some interesting comments from him. With that said, Kelly Oubre nicked up here, a tough hyperextension, you would say. It's kind of like his knee kind of went squirrely, non-contact injury in the game against the Pistons, I think it was. But Noah, any updates on Kelly Oubre's status here as they taking on the Raptors?
Just that he's not playing and that it's an MCL injury. It's described on the LCL, described in the injury report as a sprain. And yeah, I mean, hearing multiple people talk about it doesn't seem like he's expected back anytime soon. It's just a question of the severity and how many games he's going to miss. But obviously a big absence. He'd been playing around 35 minutes per game. Nick Nurse said he thought it had been the start of a career year for Kelly Oubre, and the Sixers really value him on both ends. So yeah, no clarity on a timeline yet, but just kind of reading the tea leaves, doesn't seem like there's great optimism about a return in the near future.
Frustrating to say the least, Amy. You lose Kelly Oubre, who had been doing a little bit of everything. You heard what Noah said with Nick Nurse's comments, but we do gain Paul George. Of course, Jared McCain also trying to work his way back and find his rhythm. He played 2 games with the Delaware Bluecoats and then was back on the court with the 76ers in their last contest, a victory against the Clippers. But what did you see from Paul George in his debut? And he's on a restriction. Hopefully that'll be lifted here in short order. He looked pretty good. Didn't look like he was out of shape. The game was looking great. Really wet his first shot and his second one. Went on a little 5-0 run by himself there in that Clippers game against his former team. But what did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing that I was looking for was him being able to just keep up with that pace that the Sixers play with, but being aggressive as well. When a guy is coming back after not playing for, almost 300 days, 289 days, March 4th was the last time we had seen him on the court. So that's a substantial amount of time. And obviously having that knee surgery and then just working everything back, you wondered, was he going to be a little reluctant or a little kind of just, reticent to shoot or to work his way into the offense? And I thought, as you mentioned it, like from the jump, he was aggressive. I think 9 shots in 21 minutes is a pretty good number for him. Now, obviously the shots all didn't fall, but I don't think that that's going to be a problem going forward. He's obviously a good shooter. I don't think he's going to be shooting 2 for 9 type of thing in the limited minutes. But I thought that was a really good number. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see him, acclimate himself to the offense. He'd obviously been practicing with that team for a while, for several weeks, and I thought he looked pretty good, all things considered. The shot was off, but I think that that's also something that you have to take into account, the fact that he had such a long layoff, just trying to get his feet under him. But his jumper, I think will go. It looked pretty good, even when it didn't go in. I don't think that you're going to see anything, unusual from him going forward as far as like the off numbers. I mean, last year, those numbers were some of the lowest of his entire career, both in minutes played, games played, and obviously the scoring numbers, 16 points a game, is exceptionally low. Second lowest in his career. You have to go back to, I think, the second year of him playing in the NBA as far as minimum 10 games. So I thought he looked pretty good. It'll be interesting to see how long that minutes restriction lasts, what it does, what it looks like, for tonight, and then obviously going forward tomorrow as well.
Yeah, he's sitting out tonight, first night of the back-to-back. So Nick Nurse said, in the near term, they're not going to be playing him both legs of a back-to-back, obviously. And yeah, he didn't have a super concrete idea of when the restriction will be lifted. He said it'll largely just be based on how he feels and consulting with the medical folks. But yeah, I think physically everything was really positive, and I was actually a little surprised how much he embraced contact. I think he took 6 free throws and didn't really seem to shy away from sort of getting in the mix on either end of the ball. But for me, he does still need to show that he's going to be an improved shooter. I think like efficiency is a little bit more of a challenge when you don't quite have that same burst. And the reality is the free throws per game in the long term are probably going to be a little bit lower. So he needs to be a good jump shooter, needs to be a big time shot maker. That's why the Sixers got him. That's the reputation. And that's the hope for what he'll bring moving forward. But absolutely, I think as a long two-way player, that he's very much welcomed back. And I think everyone was a little bit relieved to see him on the floor. It had been quite a while, and he'd been practicing here for over a month. So you started to hear Nurse, get a little frustrated. I think just that green check was not yet delivered by the medical folks, but now he's cleared to play and definitely should make the Sixers a better team.
They lose Kelly Oubre for a short while here. Hopefully, we hope it's a short while. They get Paul George back, but maybe the shooting and production that they lost from Kelly Oubre can be substituted by the 3-point prowess of Andre Drummond, guys. I mean, this is a dude shooting 7 of 16, almost 44% from 3-point range. Nick Nurse said that he wants to get it to a point where there's not audible gasps in the arena when Andre Drummond shoots it, and that's home and away. Both home.
People are very surprised when they see him out there shooting it.
I mean, I'm surprised. So
let's be honest.
Everybody. But these threes are going in. These are shots he's making, Noah. This is a corner three assassin right now. 7 of 16, more 3-pointers made and attempted than he ever has. Is this a Brooke Lopez transition?
No.
Here? What do you think?
I don't think so, but yeah, I really was struggling to find anyone comparable. Al Horford was one of the first names that came to mind, but he started shooting threes at like 28 years old. I think Andre Drummond's 31. And then a friend of the podcast, Paul Hudrick, brought up Marc Gasol, and that actually might be like the latest, other than Andre Drummond, that I'm aware of, that a center has started shooting and making threes after just being a total non-shooter for their career. But to me, Drummond is so exceptional because he's always been a really subpar shooter, period. Like inside of the arc, those little short push shots. He's always
free throws.
And right. I mean, this year, right now, he's at around 63% from the line, and that, I believe that would be the best mark of his entire career. So it's pretty wild that in this pretty small sample size, he's 44% from three. And last game, he even took one from the top of the key. Like, he's not just limiting himself to the corner attempts. As he says, it's certainly a big confidence thing, but to me, even beyond just the self-belief, it's a little bit mystifying that he's making that. I don't think there was anything to suggest that he had this ability. So we shall see if it lasts, but I'm pretty confident he's going to keep firing them, and that the reaction from people around the league is still going to be a large amount of surprise. I think it's still an odd sight, even as it becomes a little bit more normal here.
Yeah, he's already had more made threes than Ben Simmons in his career. Ben Simmons' entire career, Andre Drummond's got more of them made just this season. Just think
this
about
shows
that.
how much of a mental thing. It was such a mental thing with Simmons.
Well, Andre Drummond's got confidence, and we all know Ben Simmons did not have it, certainly shooting it. But it's, listen, he made 2 big free throws the other day that ended up helping them in a row, that ended up helping them, win that game. So I think that's one of the under the radar kind of storylines as far as, yes, getting Paul George back, getting Jared McCain back, Tyrese Maxey healthy. All of those things are great. But Andre Drummond really was hampered big time last year by that toe injury, clearly, because he's having a very, very good year to start. And he's got 4 or 5 straight double-doubles, I think, at this point, 4 straight maybe, and starting in place of Joel Embiid. And I think that can't be underestimated. He's coming off an 18-rebound game and shooting the ball much better for a guy that was never really known for having any kind of, offense aside from, putbacks and rebounding.
And
Yeah.
when you say never, you mean never in all caps. Never
All
known for
caps.
shooting like that.
All caps.
But real quick, Noah, are they going to stagger Embiid and Paul George? Are they going to play together? How do you think they'll handle this? Specifically, let's just address the back-to-back here. But is Embiid going to be on the floor tonight? And, well, how do you think they'll handle it?
So I believe he's still doubtful for tonight. As we know, those injury designations can change unpredictably with him, but to me, it would probably line up for him playing tomorrow. And yeah, I think it'll in all likelihood be similar to last year, where they want those guys to build some two-man chemistry, to get some reps together, and a better sense of how they can play off each other. But also, of course, there will be stints where they're separate. And yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for Joel Embiid that he'll have to get his feet under him again. But I think the fact that he's at least not completely ruled out does suggest that, this is not going to be a long-term absence for him. But yeah, it is a bummer because he's just not had the opportunity to gain any real rhythm this season. Only has 6 games under his belt, and even though it's had the minutes restriction. So yeah, I think, moving forward, it would sure be nice for the Sixers if all 3 stars are available, if Tyrese Maxey does not have to play over 40 minutes per game, and if all 3 stars can actually be, the full best versions of themselves. But Nick Nurse will deal with the cards that he is handed. And yeah, for now, he's really not letting up from Tyrese Maxey's gigantic minutes load, and part of that's out of necessity, but part of it's also just he is an ultra competitive coach that wants to win every game, and all these games have come down to the wire. So he has certainly not seen any opportunities to be like, oh yeah, we can buy Tyrese a few minutes here and there. The default mode has been Tyrese Maxey is a great player, and we need him on the floor to win. So having more great players available will, he hopes, I think, allow Tyrese Maxey to finally have a few games where he's not over 40 minutes.
40 minutes and 39 points for Tyrese Maxey in another comeback win for the 76ers. We will explain why that is a record-setting moment for the Sixers in this last victory, as well as more on why VJ Edgecombe and Luka Doncic are in the same sentence together. But we'll take a time out here and show some love to our title sponsor, Wilmington University. We would not be what we are without them. We want to make sure that we remind everyone that there's December open house. Chat, browse, and apply at Wilmington University's virtual open house on December 3rd. Details at wilmu.edu/open house. Spring classes start January 12th. Register today. All right, back here on the Sixers Talk podcast. And yes, Tyrese Maxey is the second leading scorer in the NBA, only to Luka Doncic, of course. Can I say future Hall of Famer? I feel like he's already in that discussion. And not Tyrese, but Luka. But we can discuss if Tyrese is there as well. But all the same, VJ Edgecombe, 200 points, 50 assists, 200 or more points, 50 or more assists, 50 or more rebounds. He is the second fastest player to reach that plateau in 13 games. Luka did it in 12. So, yeah, it was a ridiculously surprising and fun coming out party against Boston in game 1 for VJ Edgecombe, but some people have criticized some of the tail off of him not quite reaching that plateau yet again, but he is on a tear to start this season. He is playing better than many would have expected. He is living up to the billing as a 3rd overall pick, and choosing him over Ace Bailey also seemed like the right decision so far here in the early going. But in that win, the Sixers also tied an NBA record with their fourth quarter comeback of 10 or more points in a single season. Edgecombe definitely a big part of that. His confidence with the basketball, his ability and to drive and shoot and keep the defense honest and hit shots definitely factors into that. Speak about Edgecombe a bit, what you guys have enjoyed seeing from him and just the Sixers' cardiac nature here 13 games into the season.
Yeah, it's not great to have all those comebacks. The players will say that after those games. They'd rather have maybe a couple more easy wins. You mentioned that fourth quarter comeback. of 10 or more points. They've won 8 games, so that's half of them. They've got 5 total of those games as far as overall double-digit comeback wins. That is something that they, to Noah's point about Tyrese Maxey's usage, they have to keep him in there because they really need those minutes and points from Tyrese Maxey. And when you win such a close game like you did the other day against the Clippers, and Tyrese Maxey had 39 points in 40 minutes, you can see exactly why. But VJ Edgecombe, to me, 34 points on your opening night is pretty impressive, and it's going to be hard to top and kind of sustain that. I think everybody probably realizes that, but I think you still have seen the flashes that he showed in that opening game since then. I think it's just impressive that he is trusted so much late in these games. I mean, these are games that they're having to fight their way back down double digits late in the game. And you have a rookie, a true rookie, a 20-year-old rookie out there trying to play defense, obviously, and then create the offense. And Nick Nurse had some really like tough love type of comments to say after that Clippers game, but also praise as well. Big shots down the stretch, had a big 3 VJ did in that Clippers win. But he said he likes him being aggressive. He doesn't want him to not be that aggressive style of play. So I think that he is a guy that has shown that he's exceptionally coachable and that he is ready for whatever they are asking of him and for the moment. And it's not, the stage doesn't seem too big. And I think that that's a really big thing when you're trying to have these comeback wins and trying to, earn every bucket and make sure you get those stops. VJ is always on the court for those big moments. And I think that says a lot that they both trust him and that his teammates trust him as well.
Yeah, he was asked recently just about the knack for big time shot making, even in games where he's rather cold as a shooter. And he sounded a little like Tyrese Maxey. He said, I work extremely hard. Like, why would I not trust myself? And I think he also has this mature, big picture perspective where he often will say, it's just basketball. Like, I don't need to be putting this, great weight on my shoulders. Like, if I'm open, my team is best served if I shoot the ball. That's pretty simple. And definitely, I think not something every rookie is really able to enact. Like, I think many guys do take a while to become comfortable in those clutch situations, and it's taken him 0 time. But yeah, I think, as the season's gone on, we've seen a little more of the weaker areas of his game that he knows he's got to work on. I think the finishing, it's become more apparent that a lot of skill development is needed there. The athleticism is awesome, but Nick Nurse described him right now as a bit of a home run or strikeout guy. You get the occasional spectacular dunk or gliding special layup, but needs to develop the craft there around the rim and just some of the feel for the shot selection in the in-between game and all these little nuances of being in the NBA. But no better way to learn than getting tons of minutes every night and being coached, really hard by Nick Nurse, who believes in him, but is also kind of pushed VJ Edgecombe to get better and better here. So yeah, he's settling in, he's figuring it all out. He's admittedly been really tired with this grueling schedule, but I do think there have been tons of encouraging moments, and many of them have come in late in these fourth quarters.
Really quick, guys, I want to definitely bring some attention to the fact we talked about the minutes Maxey's playing, the production that he's bringing this team, and the impact he's having on the NBA as a whole, because he is the top of the scouting report for each and every team the Sixers face. And we've seen teams pick him up 94 feet. The Cavs game comes to mind. We've seen Dennis Jenkins getting in his grill with the Pistons, and Tyrese brushing it off is just like some competitive Texas type of stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how he's played and guarded with the Raptors again, seeing the 76ers team and how they'll adjust to what happened the last time these teams faced each other, as well as what the Bucks do when the Sixers hit the road. So have you guys been noticing that? Do you feel like Paul George can help offset some of that weight that Maxey has to carry, although he's still in a restriction? Like, what are you guys seeing there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's certainly the hope. Like, more players who command attention will relieve the burden a little on Tyrese Maxey. I thought last game against the Clippers was positive in that the Sixers actually had some of that offensive variety they aspire to. And Nurse admitted in the loss to the very shorthanded Pistons there were many moments where Tyrese Maxey was sort of just dribbling around in circles and searching to, create something out of thin air. And that's just not going to be viable, no matter how great a player you are. So he praised Maxey's play calling in that game. And I do think we've seen some real development there where he's growing his feel for the game and his understanding of how to remain really aggressive while also getting teammates involved and keeping defenses guessing a little bit. And I always think that helps to offset that reality of you being, the number one guy that a defense is focused on all game. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, it's been fantastic how efficient he has stayed. There have been really few, horrific shooting games. And obviously the fact that he's made so many improvements at getting to the foul line is a huge step forward there. So I think there have been some situations where you see a little of that James Harden teaching. The defense is throwing a double team at him or being really physical with him, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to turn that into a trip to the free throw line. And I think that has certainly made Tyrese Maxey a better player and helped him to deal with some of the difficulties of just being a superstar, which is what he's been thus far.
Yeah,
we're starting to pick on our guy, Amy.
Yeah, I know. And well, at least he's getting some of the calls finally, because it only took 5 years in the league for them to realize, like, hey, maybe that was a foul on Tyrese Maxey. So hopefully he's going to get a few more of those calls. But the Raptors played him really well, I thought, the last time out. And that's a good Raptors team. I know that they're not going to win the East, I don't think, but I think they're a better Raptors team than people might realize. They're young, they're rangy, and they play good defense. It's a physical brand. And they've got a lot of they don't have a lot of height, but they have a lot of length on the defensive side. And it was a good battle between he and Emmanuel Quickly, who they obviously have a very good relationship. But I'll be interested to see how they guard him. I think they'll probably do a similar thing what you were talking about, like with the Cavs and the Pistons, as far as picking him up early and making him have to either create for others or force him in some really spectacular kind of shots that he usually makes, these kind of circus type shots that looks like they're not going to go in. And for Tyrese Maxey, they do. But teams make him earn it. In that Pistons loss, he shot the ball 31 times, and that's one of the more inefficient games. But as Noah mentioned, he has been very efficient, which is hard to say when he's playing 40 minutes, but he really has been. He's shooting, 50%, and his 3-point numbers had been much better as opposed to last year, where he was shouldering all of the offensive burden, and it was struggling. His shot really struggled at times last year in the beginning of the season. So that's been good to see, and I think he welcomes it. I mean, he's a guy that loves to really drive the ball, and I think that it's good that he's getting to the free throw line. It shows that he's getting, obviously better looks and more respect, and that people are regarding him as the number one on this team, which is a good Sixers team, and he is their star player.
She is Amy Fadul. Check her out tonight on Sixers pre and post game live, as well as Noah Levick. Check him out before and after on NBC Sports Philadelphia.com. And I'm Danny Pomels. Thanks for listening and watching to the Sixers Talk podcast, brought to you by Wilmington University. WilMU Works. We'll see you next time.